Do you think Tony Abbott's up for a comeback?
Well, if he would want to do it, then I think he'd be an excellent person to pre-select, because I think there is a need for some gravitas in the Senate, and there's a need for some elders in the Senate. And that's what Jim Molan was. He was an elder in the Senate, and he had knowledge and wisdom and a memory, which there are a lot in the Parliament forget that some of the arguments they're having now we had more than 20 years ago. So I think, interestingly enough, I mean, the Prime Minister's shown an example by making a former Prime Minister an ambassador.
Yep. That's going to end in tears.
Well, that's another story, I guess.
Let's wait and see what happens with that.
But I think Tony Abbott would be an excellent, having been a member of the Senate and knowing what the role is, and it's different from the role in the House of Reps, I think he would make an excellent senator, and it would enhance, I think, the firepower.
James, have you spoken to Pauline about it? What's her idea? What's her view?
Well, I haven't spoken to Pauline about it, but I do know that the relationship between Pauline Hanson and Tony Abbott is very strong, unlike when she first served in 1996. Tony is, as Bronwyn has pointed out, he is an elder and a statesman, and he has acted with absolute dignity. The Senate is lacking solid voices, particularly at a time when we're about to go into that debate on the voice. I think there are really only a very small handful of Liberal senators who have got the courage to say what needs to be said and take up the challenge to Labor. The other point too that needs to be made is there wouldn't be any media speculation of a comeback as leader if Tony was to go into the Senate, because we don't have prime ministers in the Senate. So I think Tony would be a good choice.
We've got the history books here, mate.
Yeah,
it was Don Gordon.
Yeah, and you can't argue with Bronwyn. But
no, you don't argue with Bronwyn.
It's a one-off, and it was a very long time ago, and the precedent has never followed. It's never followed that precedent.
So you're a New South Wales Liberal.
Yes.
We were talking to Dennis Shannon before.
Yes.
And he made the point that the biggest hurdle that Mr Abbott might have is the New South Wales Liberal Party.
Well, it'll try the Liberal Party factional system would be the big problem. Let's try the hard left.
Yes.
Yes.
So that would be his biggest hurdle, wouldn't it?
Yes, but there would be a lot of sentiment, I think, that would support Tony, and it's a question of, I think, bashing a few heads together.